Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive. And today we're going to be taking a look at something that you might not expect.
Yeah.
We're going to be diving into 50 self-journaling prompts. And-
Really?
Yeah. So these actually come from a blog post on Lestallion.
Okay.
And you might be thinking, wait, isn't that a company that sells journals?
Right.
And you would be right. They do.
Okay.
But they also put out some really interesting resources about journaling itself,
Sure.
including these prompts.
Interesting.
So yeah, and the interesting thing about these is that they're not just random questions to fill pages.
Right.
They're designed to help you uncover things about yourself,
Okay.
your values, your dreams, even how you handle your emotions.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so before we get to the actual prompts themselves,
Okay.
can you talk a little bit about why self-journaling is such a big deal these days?
Sure.
It feels like everyone's doing it.
Yeah, it's true. It's having a real moment.
Yeah.
I think part of it is that so many of us are just overwhelmed with information and external noise. So journaling is a way to turn inward, to kind of listen to that quieter voice inside.
So it's not just about keeping a diary of what you did that day.
Not at all.
Okay.
Think of it more as a tool for personal growth.
Mhm.
When you journal, you're processing your experiences, understanding your reactions, and ultimately making more intentional choices about how you want to live your life.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Now, Lestallion has organized these 50 prompts into 5 categories, which seems like a smart way to approach such a big list.
Absolutely.
Can you tell us what those are?
Yeah, they are exploring your inner world, embracing your emotions, building self-confidence, setting goals and dreams, and practicing gratitude.
Wow, that covers a lot of ground.
Right.
I'm already curious to hear some of the prompts themselves.
Sure.
Which ones from exploring your inner world really grabbed your attention?
One that stood out to me was write about a time when you felt truly at peace with yourself.
Okay.
What brought on that feeling and how can you recreate it?
Okay.
It's so easy to get caught up in the chaos of life. But this prompt encourages you to really examine those moments of peace.
Right.
What were the circumstances? How did your body feel? What thoughts were going through your mind?
I can see how revisiting those peaceful times could be really helpful, especially when you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed.
Sure.
It's like having a blueprint for how to find your way back to that state.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then another prompt from that category is what values are most important to you and how do they show up in your daily life?
Okay.
This one can be really revealing because sometimes we think we value certain things, but when we look at our actions, they might not be aligned.
That's so true. It's easy to say you value family, for example, but are you actually making time for them?
Precisely. And that's where journaling can be so powerful and
Yeah.
helps you bridge that gap between your ideals and your reality.
Let's move on to embracing your emotions, which sounds like a particularly relevant category in today's world.
Yeah.
What are some of the prompts that jumped out at you from that section?
Well, there's one that's very direct. Reflect on a recent moment of happiness.
Okay.
What sparked that feeling, and how can you invite more joy into your life? This one challenges you to not just passively experience happiness, but to understand its roots and actively cultivate more of it.
I find that so interesting because it flips the script.
Right.
Instead of waiting for happiness to happen to you, you're taking charge and seeking it out.
Right.
Do you think that's a key part of what Lestallion is trying to do with these prompts?
Yeah.
To empower people to be more proactive in their own lives?
Absolutely. These prompts are all about taking ownership of your experiences, both the positive and the challenging ones.
Okay.
For example, another prompt in this category is write about a time you felt frustrated or angry.
Right.
What triggered those emotions and how did you cope? It encourages you to examine those difficult emotions without judgment, to understand their source, and to develop healthier coping mechanisms.
It seems like a lot of these prompts are about asking why.
Yeah.
Why do I feel this way?
Yeah.
Why did I react that way? Why is this important to me?
You're right. And that's a core element of self-awareness.
Good.
The more we understand the why behind our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, the more empowered we become to make conscious choices. And that's where those aha moments often happen, the ones that can lead to real personal growth.
This has been so insightful already, and we've only scratched the surface of 2 categories.
Right.
I'm eager to keep digging into the rest of these prompts with you, but before we move on, I'd love to hear from you, our listener.
Okay.
Which of these prompts has sparked your curiosity the most so far?
Yeah.
What resonates with you, and why take a moment to think about that as we move on to explore more of Lestallion's 50 self-journaling prompts?
And we're back for part 2 of our deep dive.
All right, let's keep exploring where to next.
Let's shift gears to Lestallion's category on building self-confidence.
Okay.
What's interesting to me about this section is that the prompts go beyond just listing your accomplishments. They dig into the why behind those successes.
Okay. Do you think that's important? Because sometimes we downplay our achievements or don't give ourselves enough credit.
Absolutely. A prompt like reflect on your proudest accomplishment. What steps did you take to achieve it? And how can you replicate that confidence makes you break it down?
Okay.
What skills did you use? What obstacles did you overcome? Recognizing those patterns can help you tackle new challenges with more self-assurance.
It's like you're building a case for your own competence,
Right.
which is such a smart approach.
Yeah.
I'm curious what other prompts in this category resonated with you.
There's one that really struck me. And think of a compliment you've received that meant a lot. Why did it resonate and how can you internalize it?
Mhm.
We often brush off compliments,
Yeah.
but this prompt forces you to sit with one that truly landed.
Okay.
What truth does it reveal about you that maybe you haven't fully acknowledged?
Almost like turning a compliment into an affirmation.
Yeah,
Instead
Yeah.
of just saying, oh, thanks,
yeah,
you're really absorbing the positive message and letting it sink in.
exactly. And that can be a powerful way to boost your self-belief.
Yeah.
Now, for those who might be struggling with taking action, Lestallion has a prompt that I think is brilliant.
Okay. Explore an area where you want to grow. What's one small step you can take today, and how would it boost your confidence? It highlights the importance of starting small, not getting overwhelmed by the big picture.
It's almost like a micro confidence boost.
Right.
If you're trying to be more assertive, maybe you just practice saying no to one small request. It's still a step forward.
Right. And even those small steps can create momentum and inspire you to keep going.
Yeah.
Then there's this one, reflect on a skill you're proud of. How has it benefited you, and how can you continue honing it?
hmm
This is about celebrating your strengths, but also recognizing that there's always room for growth.
So it's not just resting on your laurels. It's about actively nurturing your talents.
Exactly.
Mm.
And the beauty of self-journaling is that it allows you to track that progress over time.
Right.
You can look back and see how far you've come, which can be incredibly motivating.
I'm loving how these prompts are encouraging us to take a more active role in our own personal development. It's not just about reflecting, it's about applying those insights to create positive change. That's a great observation, and it's especially true when we move into Lestallion's category on setting goals and dreams.
Okay.
These prompts help you define your vision for the future and start taking concrete steps to make it happen.
This is a topic that so many people struggle with.
Yay.
Where do you even begin when it comes to setting goals that are meaningful and achievable?
Well, Lestallion starts with a really fundamental question. Reflect on what success means to you. How do you define it, and how can you align your goals with your values?
Hmm.
So often we chase after external markers of success without asking ourselves what truly matters to us.
So it's about getting really clear on what success looks and feels like for you, not for society or your family or anyone else.
Precisely. And once you have that clarity, you can start setting goals that are in alignment with your deepest values.
Okay.
Then there's this prompt, which I think is a great follow-up. Think about a small habit you'd like to build. How would it improve your life, and how can you stay consistent? It highlights the power of those small, incremental changes that we often underestimate.
It's so easy to get caught up in wanting to make huge sweeping changes all at once.
Right.
But as you said earlier, those small steps can really build momentum.
Absolutely. And consistency is key, which is why Lestallion also includes prompts like, write about a long-term goal you've been considering, what's holding you back, and how can you overcome it. This one encourages you to identify and address those internal obstacles that are often the biggest roadblocks to achieving our goals.
It's like shining a light on those limiting beliefs and fears that we might not even be consciously aware of.
Exactly. And once you bring them into the light, you can start to dismantle them.
Okay.
Now, one of my favorite prompts in this category is write about how you'd like to spend your ideal day. What does it reveal about your priorities? And how can you bring it to life? It's such a powerful visualization exercise.
I love that it's not just about setting goals. It's about creating a vivid picture of what your ideal life actually looks and feels like.
Right. It's about connecting with that vision on an emotional level, which can be incredibly motivating. And then to bring it back down to earth a bit, there's this prompt reflect on how you spend your energy, what's worth prioritizing, and how can you let go of distractions. It encourages you to be more mindful of how you're investing your time and energy.
It's so easy to get caught up in the business of life without stopping to consider if you're actually spending your time on things that are truly important to you.
Exactly. And that's where journaling can be so helpful. It allows you to step back, assess your priorities, and make conscious choices about how you want to live your life.
It's like having that bird's eye view where you can see the bigger picture and make adjustments accordingly. Now, before we dive into Lestallion's final category, I want to ask you, our listener, a question.
Sure.
What resonates with you most about this idea of setting goals and dreams? Do you have any personal experiences with setting goals that you'd like to share? Take a moment to reflect on that as we transition to the final category of prompts.
And we are back for our final part of this deep dive into these self-journaling prompts.
We've covered so much ground already, but there's one more category we need to explore, and it's a big one.
Yeah.
Practicing gratitude.
Yes. This is where things get really interesting. We've talked about understanding your inner world, processing emotions, building confidence, setting goals. But gratitude adds a whole other dimension to it.
It seems like gratitude is having a real moment in the self-help world these days.
It is, and for good reason. Research has shown that practicing gratitude can have a profound impact on our well-being.
Okay.
It can reduce stress, improve sleep, boost happiness, and even strengthen relationships.
That's incredible. It sounds like a simple practice with some pretty powerful benefits.
It really is, and Lestallion's prompts offer a variety of ways to cultivate gratitude in your daily life.
What are some of the prompts that stood out to you from this category?
Well, there's one that's perfect for starting your day on a positive note. Write about one thing that made you smile today. Why was it meaningful, and how can you cherish it?
Okay.
It encourages you to find those little sparks of joy, even on the most ordinary days.
I like it. It's so easy to get caught up in the routine and forget to appreciate those small moments that make life so rich.
Exactly. And speaking of appreciation, there's this prompt, reflect on a person who has positively impacted your life, what makes them special, and how can you show gratitude? It's a reminder to acknowledge the people who enrich our lives and to express our appreciation for them.
Sometimes we take those relationships for granted, so it's good to be reminded to express our gratitude while we can.
Absolutely. And then there's this prompt, which I find particularly evocative. Think about a place you love. What feelings does it evoke, and how can you visit it more often?
Okay.
It invites you to connect with a place that brings you joy and peace, whether it's a favorite park, a cozy cafe, or a breathtaking vista.
It's like a mini vacation for the soul.
Exactly. And for those who enjoy reminiscing, there's this prompt, write about a memory that fills you with warmth. What made it special, and how can you hold on to it?
Okay.
It encourages you to revisit those cherished memories and savor the positive emotions they evoke.
Sometimes those warm memories are like little treasures we can carry with us.
They really are. And then, of course, there are prompts for cultivating self-love and gratitude for your own strengths and accomplishments.
Can you share a few of those? I think those are especially important in a world that often focuses on our flaws and shortcomings.
Absolutely. There's this one, which is a classic for a reason. Reflect on 3 things you appreciate about yourself. Why do they matter, and how can you celebrate them?
Okay.
It's a simple yet powerful reminder to acknowledge and appreciate your own unique qualities.
It's so easy to be critical of ourselves, so taking the time to celebrate our strengths can be a real game changer.
It really can. And then there's this prompt which focuses on resilience. Write about a challenge you've overcome, what strengths helped you through, and how can you use them in the future.
Okay.
It's a reminder that we've all faced and overcome difficulties, and those experiences have made us stronger.
It's like acknowledging those battle scars and recognizing the wisdom and resilience they represent.
Exactly. And finally, to bring it back to the present moment, there's this prompt, reflect on the beauty in everyday moments. How can you practice noticing and appreciating them more often? It encourages you to slow down, pay attention, and find beauty in the ordinary.
It's like training your mind to see the world through a lens of gratitude.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
Wow, these gratitude prompts are truly inspiring. It's amazing how such simple questions can spark so much reflection and positive emotion.
It really is. And I think that's the beauty of Lestallion's 50 self-journaling prompts as a whole.
They offer a comprehensive toolkit for self-discovery, growth, and well-being.
And they remind us that we have the power to shape our own experiences, cultivate positive emotions, and live more fulfilling lives.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into self-journaling, I encourage you, our listener, to give these prompts a try.
Yeah, pick one that speaks to you, grab your favorite journal, and see what insights and discoveries emerge.
Remember, journaling is a personal journey, so there's no right or wrong way to do it.
Just be honest with yourself. Explore your thoughts and feelings without judgment, and allow yourself to be surprised by what you uncover.
And who knows, maybe you'll even discover a newfound appreciation for the power of gratitude. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Lestallion's 50 self-journaling prompts.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everyone.
We hope you found it insightful and inspiring. Until next time, happy journaling.